Okay, folks, so this is summarizing the nature of God. There are 4 qualities to God. 1, creator, lawgiver, judge. Now, there's an awful lot there, and you're not going to see it. So let's take it one at a time. In the middle over here, can you write God? And remember, a lot of Jews will leave out the vowel in God because they say God is so holy, they shouldn't pronounce God's name. And then if you do, as you can see over here, like a window, 4 lines, okay, almost like a cross. You think we're talking about Christianity, but we're not. It's Judaism, and you see the 4 Jewish stars in the corner, so you may want to do that to remind you it's Judaism. Right, so once you've done that, in the top left-hand box, if you write 1, don't write 2, write 1, and underneath 1, write monotheism, because monotheism means belief in one God. And then you'll see an arrow going down from monotheism, because the next thing I want you to write should go underneath monotheism. So on your page, write 1 monotheism. Underneath that, write this: 1, I'm highlighting 1, equals all power and authorities in God, because there is no other God. For Jews, the fact that God is one is really important, because it's saying there's nobody else to have a bit of power and authority. All power, all authorities in God. So that makes him completely and utterly almighty. Okay, and you'll be almighty if you get this right in the exam. Then what I'd like you to do is, can you see the 1 over there? Do an arrow going right up to the top and write most important teaching of the Torah, and there in green is your source of wisdom and authority. The Lord is God, ... there is no other. So that is telling the Jews there's no other God, there's only one God. And then underneath that you'll see there's another arrow, and I want you to write this: the central prayer of Judaism, the Shema, that's an important word, says, and there's your source of wisdom and authority, the Lord is one. So again, highlight 1 over there, highlight Shema, and do an arrow going down from your quote, because the next thing I'm going to ask you to write will be underneath that. The Shema, highlighted, is prayed 3 times a day to remind Jews that God is one. It's so important for the Jews that God is one that 3 times a day they remind themselves of it when they pray the Shema. That's how important it is for the Jews, because it's telling them God has power and authority. Nobody else has that power and authority, not even you, Alfie. Then, top left-hand corner of the 1 box, okay, you may think this is a 1 show, but it's a 1 box. The mezuzah on the doorposts of Jewish homes remind them that God is one. So every time a Jew goes into their home or comes out, they'll touch the mezuzah, and it's reminding them God is one. How important is that? And then underneath it, do another arrow, and it's a tefillin. The tefillin is worn on the arm and the head, and it contains a Shema. Remember, the Shema talks about God being one. It's a prayer that says God is one. And on the head, it's Jews are saying to God, yes, in our mind, we know you are one. And the box on the arm faces inwards towards the heart. So at their heart, they know God is one. So that's why it's really important for the Jews to believe that God is one. They keep reminding themselves of it because it's such a major feature of God. Now, be creative. Look at your top right hand box, it says creator. So write creator and spell it properly for me, please. Okay, don't be creative with your spelling. Then you will see that there's an arrow coming out of creator there, and I want you to write first words of the Torah. Say source of wisdom and authority. God created, highlight the word created, the heaven and the earth. I forgot to put quotes at the end, but you can do quotes. Underneath that, I want you to write the 13 principles of faith. Say, I believe that God is the creator. I've highlighted creator, source of wisdom and authority. That's another reason why Jews believe that God is creator. And then do an arrow going down from that, and underneath that I want you to write This shows that God has complete power and control of everything. If he's creator, he's made everything. That means he's got power to do it. That means he's controlled everything if he has actually created. Do another arrow going down from there, and you will see. So, everything in the universe belongs to God. Okay, that puts him in a pretty powerful position. And so Jews should respect the environment. If everything is made by God, he's a creator, everything is holy, everything is made by God, they should respect the environment. And so should you, even though you're not Jewish. Then, top left-hand box of creator, God continues. He didn't create and then leave it. He continues to create new life. Look at all the babies being born. And sustain, that means he keeps life going. So he sustains all people every day. So that's why it's really important for the Jews. God is creator. Then we move on to the next one, which says God created. That goes bottom left-hand corner. God created, oh no, sorry, I made a mistake. That's top left-hand corner. God created everything, and so everything has value and purpose. So Jews believe everything is valuable, everything has a purpose because God made it, okay? He was the creator. Now, the next one, if you do lawgiver, okay? If you write lawgiver, I forgot to write lawgiver, but you can put lawgiver over there. And then you want to do top right-hand corner. Laws were given to Moses in the 10 Commandments, and we all know the 10 Commandments. You know there are 10 of them, and you do an arrow going down, and the arrow going down says they are important and should be followed because they are from God. Okay, the Jews believe the 10 Commandments are directly from God, so they should follow them. They have a duty to follow them to be a good Jew. And then underneath that, the arrow goes down again, and at the bottom there, you write, they encourage justice and peace. Why did the 10 Commandments encourage justice and peace? Because look at the example, source of wisdom and authority, do not murder. Okay, it will encourage justice and peace. Then an arrow goes down from there, and you want to write, this shows that God cares for his people because he gave them laws to live good lives. He could have left them, but he didn't. He cares for his people, so he gives them laws so that they can have a peaceful and just society. Right down at the bottom there, you can say, God did not create us and leave us to get on in life without any guidance. Okay, he gave us these laws. That's why it's important God is lawgiver for the Jews. Then you can do an arrow going on the side here. Remember, law is mizvot, and there's 613 mizvot. And the 10 Commandments encourage a good relationship between the Jews and God. Remember, keep the Shabbat holy. If they're keeping a day holy, they're keeping it aside to build up a good relationship with God because they're spending time with him. And then, top left-hand corner, these laws form the basis of Jewish society. So the Jews have built their society based on the 10 Commandments. That gives them the basis for their society. So God being a lawgiver is really, really important because he's given them a basis for their society. Then you're going to write judge, okay? Judge. And let's have a look what that says. Top right-hand corner of Judge. The Tanakh, which is a Jewish holy book, the Torah is part of the Tanakh, but the Tanakh says, 1, the Lord is our judge. Okay, so that's why the Jews believe God is judge. And secondly, it says, he will judge justly for the poor. That means God is going to judge in a right way for poor people. Those are two sources of wisdom and authority from the Tanakh, and an arrow goes down from that. And that says, God judges. The Jews believe, remember we're talking Judaism, not Christianity here, God judges at 2 points for Jews. Firstly, Yom Kippur. Remember, Yom Kippur is the holiest day in the Jewish year for the Jews. It comes 10 days after the start of Rosh Hashanah, and God makes a decision on that day. He seals their fate for the year ahead in his book of life. to see, if they've had a really bad year the year before and was being unkind to people and lived bad lives, then they're going to have a bad year ahead of them. If they've lived a good life, then the year ahead will be good. So God judges how we have been on that day for the Jews. And they believe God judges on death, obviously when you die. There's an arrow going down over there from death. Let's see where that arrow takes us. So it takes us here. There was reward for the good and punishment for the bad. So on death, Jews believe God will reward people who've lived a good life, and he will punish those who've lived a bad life. And that's justice. That's real justice for people who think, you've lived a really bad life and you've really persecuted me. Well, you've got your comeuppance. You're going to be punished. So for Jews, the fact that God is judge is really, really important, because it shows that he's making sure justice happens. Okay? Now, if you have a look, top left-hand corner over there, the world is protected from chaos that would take place if people thought there was no judgment. Jews think if people thought, well, there's no judgment, they would live however they liked and say, stuff the 10 commandments, stuff the 613 mitzvot. I can do what I like because there are no repercussions. No one's going to judge me. No one's going to punish me. But the fact that God is judge makes the Jews, or it encourages them, to live good lives. So underneath that, there's an arrow going down. It encourages Jews to live good lives. And so by God being a judge, it means Jews know that they are going to behave. Everyone else in their society is going to behave, because nobody wants to be judged and sent to hell, Gehinnom, as the Jews say. And so those are your 4 qualities of God. And we'll have a look to see, an exam question. How are we going to use your spider diagram to help you answer an exam question?